Investors often look for mutual funds that are built to last, or at least ones that post consistent market beating returns. That's why owning mutual funds run by the best stock pickers can be a roadmap to building wealth. So, what makes a fund a dependable moneymaker? On this IBD Explains, we break down IBD's 2025 best mutual funds and how they offer investors benchmark beating returns. Here with me to break things down is IBD's personal finance and management editor, Matt Krantz. Matt, this is the 10th year of IBD's Best Mutual Funds report. So, what's been the big takeaway for you?
Yeah, it's really made a huge impact on me on how difficult it is to beat the stock market. So we look at funds that beat the market in the past 1, 5, and 10 years, and very, very, very few funds can do that on a consistent basis. And it's pretty amazing. So it's a really good reminder to investors that you got to make sure you know what you're getting when you buy a mutual fund.
Can you talk a little bit more about this year's results and how market conditions have shaped that reading?
Yeah, last year was a continuation of the boom in growth stocks. So big stocks with growth potential was where most of the action was. So to qualify last year, you had to be kind of positioned with those magnificent seven stocks. Things have changed this year, of course, but last year that was the case. And in fact, that was the case for a long time. Large cap tech, especially, has been kind of leading the market. So if you're a fund and you're not invested in that group, you were definitely left behind.
It also seemed like international funds were popping up more on the list as well. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we saw a lot of the funds that kind of call themselves blue chip growth. That was kind of where you wanted to be last year. So the creme of the creme, the best, the biggest, the most growthiest stocks like the Microsofts of the world, the Nvidias, those any fund that owned those kind of rode those to the top last year.
Can you talk about some of the traits that the best performing funds had in common according to IBD research?
Yeah, so they were really focused on the top performers. So a lot of momentum growth was kind of the place to be. This was not the time to be buying value last year. Value, I don't think a single value fund qualified for the best mutual funds. It was pretty amazing to see. So I think sticking with the top funds in the IBD universe is definitely a way to go.
And how can investors use the best mutual funds list, and how does it fit into your overall portfolio?
Yeah, so I think it's a really good reminder that a lot of these funds are not cheap. You're paying a percentage point at least. You want to make sure you're getting what you're paying for. If your fund's not beating the market in the past 5 and 10 years, you really got to think about what you're getting. And there's so many alternatives now with like low cost ETFs and index S&P 500 index funds. If you buy one of those, you're going to pay very low fees and you're probably going to match the market. So it's so hard to beat the market. So if you're not beating the market, and if your fund's not on the list, you really need to start asking yourself, what are you getting?
That's a great point, Matt. And thank you again for all your insights today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.